I'm Bill Mills, and I'm a results leader.
You're listening to ResultsLeader.fm. Being a thought leader is easy. Getting results is hard. This show is for the results leader who lives and dies by their results. Here is your host and Chief Results Leader, Jonathan Rivera.
Yes, you are here, and we are together for another Results Leader.fm. I am so glad that you guys are listening, and I have got an amazing treat for you today. This is no joke. A lot of people talk about 10x growth. 10x this, 10x that. I'm going to 10x everything. Cool. What does that mean? And how do you do it? Get this. Today's guest is going to give you the secret to 10x growth. I am not exaggerating. He's even got the data to prove it. Seriously, Mr. Bill Mills is the CEO of the executive group. He has been helping business owners for over 30 years, and he is the author of Breakthrough, The Power of Conscious Conversation. This guy is a terrific interview, and I'm so happy to be bringing this to you today. Let's jump in. All right. Welcome to the show, Bill. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. You ready to jump into this?
Always ready.
Always ready. Here is a softball to get us started. What book or books have you given most as a gift?
I would say I've given away Max Maltzby's book on coping better. I give that one away a lot. I've been giving away Jim Collins' book on turning the flywheel. Those are probably two that have shown up a lot and for completely different reasons. Max Maltzby is all about how to manage your emotions and your mental state. And then Flywheel is about how to create a business model that really synergistically improves over time.
All right. I got to know why do you want to manage your emotions?
Well, these are crazy times where emotions are a big part of people's reality, perhaps maybe more than ever. And Max Maltzby has a really interesting take. And I think a lot of the cognitive behavior therapy folks have the same take, is that thoughts create emotions, emotions create responses and actions, and we don't challenge our thinking. And if it is, in fact, exactly that way, then you never make me mad about you, Jonathan. I make myself mad about you. Politics doesn't drive me crazy. I drive myself crazy about what I think about politics. And if I can manage my thoughts, I can manage my emotions, I can manage my responses, I can manage my future. It's a huge coping mechanism.
Feels like I need to get that book for my wife, but that's a subject for another show. Let's keep moving here. How has an apparent failure set you up for later success?
Oh, well, let's see. I think it's interesting when you look back at the failures of your life, or the setbacks, I think would probably be a better way to think of them. They create enough pain that you're ready to make a change. And I don't know that I can point to a specific one right off the top of my head. Oh, yeah, I can. So I was involved with an organization. We were doing values-based culture work, large-scale cultural transformation work. Had a falling out with the gentleman that owned and ran that company. I had invested my entire professional career in making that happen. I was a master distributor for him. I was recruiting other consultants. I was training the consultants, and it all went away. And then it was like, okay, what do I do with this? And I started thinking, I don't like to travel that much. I really want to stay home. I have a great market here in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. How could I thrive here? And it forced me to look at a completely different way of delivering my consulting services. And what I landed on was peer groups. And so I thought, if I can build a business owner peer group that basically will eat the lunch of every other peer group in town, I can stay home. I can have long-term relationships with my clients. I don't have to fly around. I don't have to eat every Cinnabon that I come across at an airport. And as a result, that was the change. That was the big shift in my career and completely set me up for the life I have now.
Beautiful, man. So let's talk about investments. What would you say, Bill, is the most worthwhile investment you have ever made?
I invest in myself. I invest in learning. I invest in understanding things at the deepest level that I can. I tease people and say that I'm a generalist. I'm extremely broad and very, very shallow. That's not entirely true. I've taken the time to really study the business of business. And I think I've had just the blessing of working with really smart business people. And so their stories become my stories, their learnings become my learnings. And so and after a while, you really get you can see, it's kind of like the Matrix where you can see behind the illusion. You can start to see how business really works. And that's my biggest investment. And for whatever reason, that's my passion. So, other people invest in gardening or whatever their passion is. I just think business is really fascinating. So I invest in that.
Love it, man. So in the last 5 years, what new belief, behavior, or habit has most improved your life?
Belief, behavior, or habit. I would say that it is committing myself to commitment. I've never said it that way before, but that's how it's coming up for me. Learning to be all in on my marriage, all in with my daughter, all in with my granddaughter, all in with my customers and clients, not having excuses, not excusing away any bad behavior or mistakes on my part, but just owning everything, taking total accountability for everything, I would say is probably the path I've been on, and that has just accelerated over the last 5 years.
How did you start? So it reminds me of a book by Jocko Willink, Extreme Ownership. And so that concept really resonates with me. How did you come to the conclusion that you needed to be all in like that?
It's been a part of my training. I've had really great mentors and coaches over the years. It's been part of being responsible in this world, being a person that you can rely on. I'm fallible. Everybody I've ever met is fallible. So I'm not suggesting that perfection comes from this pursuit, but I do believe that what comes out of it is you're never a victim if you own everything. The world isn't really against you, just your current strategy isn't working. Failures and setbacks are just one more bit of information that the universe is telling you that doesn't work, try something else. So it doesn't feel so personal, but on a personal level with my relationship with my wife, understanding, hey, I married all of you. I married the parts of you that haven't even been explored yet, the parts of you that haven't shown up yet. And I'm all in. Whatever shows up, and she has to deal with the current version of me too. So I don't know if I can answer that answer. Nobody's ever asked me that question, but that's what I would say has been the biggest change.
Now let's have a little fun. What are some bad recommendations you hear in your area of expertise?
One of the bad recommendations that I hear. Okay, so a lot of times business owners get the recommendation, often from people who mean well in the financial world, saying, hey, lower your prices and get more volume. And hey, if you have a little bit of capacity, you can sell it cheaper in your plant, and it'll all work against your overhead, and you'll do better. And I would say that's horrible advice in general. There might be unique moments where there's an advantage to that, but in general, about the time that you start lowering your price and your margin becomes compressed, that accelerates. And the people that you attract because of you're a little bit cheaper will be attracted to the next person who's a little bit cheaper, and you're chasing the wrong value proposition. I want to be indispensable to my customers. I want it to be a catastrophe when I die. I want people coming to my funeral and wondering how they're going to survive without me. And you can't do that being the guy that sells your stuff a little bit cheaper and chases volume over the strategic relationship with your customers and clients.
I like it. All right, I know you were getting into that, and we were just about to get into my favorite part where we talk about results. But first, I want to ask you a question. Are you picking up what we're laying down on this show? Are you digging what we are sharing? If you are, why not make yourself a hero today and share this with somebody who can use it? Put this out on your social media channels. Hashtag results leader FM. I'll be out there looking for you, and I'll make sure to boost it up too when I see you. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's jump back into the interview. So let's jump into what this show is really about. Let's talk about results. Why do results matter, Bill?
I think we produce a result, even a conversation as a result. You'll feel more capable and worthy and more confident after this conversation, or you'll feel less capable and worthy and confident after this conversation. We live in a cause and effect world. Results are just information to me. It is feedback on what's working and what's not working. So why do results matter? They matter in the direction of your dreams. They matter in the direction of the life that you want to live. I look at business as a vehicle, not as an end-all. It's the vehicle that gets me to the future that I want, or to the current state that I want. It creates the gymnasium where I can go and work out every day and do what I do best and grow where I want to grow. So all of that, if you're achievement-oriented, I'm achievement-oriented. A result is all a part of that. Now, having said that, Dr. Viktor Frankl says if you're going to understand life, you understand that the purpose of life can be found in achievement, it can be found in beauty and art and creativity, and it can be found in misery and the tragedies of life. As a human being, you can't escape all of those. So if you put all your success, achievement, purpose, eggs in one basket, you're going to miss out. So results matter, but I think results also matter in terms of suffering, how you show up when the world isn't going the way you want it, when you lose a loved one, when tragedy befalls you, who you are in that situation. That's also a type of result. So there's my metaphysical answer.
Man, that is that's deep, man. Cool. So let's keep going here. In the last 5 years, what new realization has helped you get better results for your clients?
There's two that are, maybe I could probably start adding to the list the longer I think. The first realization is that we do not understand what leadership really, really is. And as a result, we haven't really thought through creating a leadership process in our organization that produces leaders and the results that we want. I think up until now, my thinking about leadership was like everybody else's. You can read a book on leadership and it's either kind of a, Bill Gates, how I did it, or it is an academic telling you about the 16 competencies of a leader and the 52 high anchor behaviors and the 34 low anchor behaviors, and they dissect it down. And you look at that and you say, well, what am I supposed to do with that? I don't know what to do with that. But if you look at leadership as a process that produces a result, and you break it down into the elements, like you would break down a sales process or a TQM process or a communication process, when you look at leadership as a process, then you can bring your own personality, your own gifts and abilities to it. And like any process, it can be learned and it can be improved. So learning to look at leadership as a process and then to teach those elements has been, for me, one of the most exciting breakthroughs I've had. I think other people probably have known this, and it was just, I was late to the party, but that's been a fantastic gift to my clients. And the other one actually kind of goes back to results. And Dr. Max Maltzby, the author I mentioned, I was sitting in a Malibu. It was like a little retreat center, a log cabin in Malibu retreat center with Max Maltzby and Larry Wilson when he was alive. And all of us consultants were sitting around at the feet of the gurus, and Max was probably 80 some years old, and he would fall asleep whenever Larry talked, and Larry would fall asleep whenever Max talked. And Max was saying, if you think about it, anything that's humanly possible can be achieved if you take the action necessary to achieve it. It all comes down to effective action. And what I'm finding working with my clients these last 5 years is people are so distracted and so caught up in non-value, low-value activity. They're barely getting 1 or maybe 2 hours of high payoff work accomplished in a day. I've been working hard with my clients to help them really manage their activities and schedule time to do the most important things. It's kind of time management 101, but it's amazing how lacking it is in American culture.
What do you think is contributing to that lack of focus, lack of intention?
I think that people don't always take the time to understand what my purpose is. Why was I really hired? I was hired to produce a result. We come back to results again. So I was working with the VP of sales. And I said, okay, tell me, what's your title? I'm vice president of sales. I direct the sales process. He said, but why does that function exist? And he's kind of goes, well, to, get customers. And I said, well, you're on the right track, but I want to hear to move the company from X to Y by when. I want to that's why that function exists. There's a reason somebody said, we need a director of sales, and it's to do something. Tell me what it is. And then he begrudgingly, okay, I get it. So to move this division from here to there, to move this division from here to here, and to do it at a certain margin. I said, okay, now we got it. All right. With that, if I was to say, wow, you knocked it out of the park, you did great. What a year you had. Tell me how you did it. And your answer has to be, it was easy. I just focused on this and this and this. Great. Tell me what those things are. Tell me how much time you need to spend on those things. Now show me in your calendar where you're doing it. And the whole thing falls apart. Nobody has it in their calendar. I ask them how much time they're actually getting in. They're getting in maybe a third of the time that they think they should be. It happens all the time. And so what I think is happening is people haven't taken the time to be diligent and rigorous around what was I hired to accomplish? What's the action that'll get me there? And when am I going to do that? And as simple as that sounds, it's amazing how much low value interruption, wasted time that occurs in organizations. It's crazy.
I can't
People
imagine.
are working 50, 60 hours a week, and they're getting in maybe 15 hours of high pay activity. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I love, and I want our listeners to really take that home, is that idea of where is it in the calendar? I don't think enough people do that. And that's a beautiful thing. You can talk about it all you want, but where does the action actually happen? Where have you made space for that? So I really love it, man. And I want to ask you a little bit about your business. What area of your business would you like better results?
Currently, the area that I'm doubling down on is customer acquisition process. Up until now, I would say 95% of all of my growth comes from introductions and referrals, just happy customers introducing me to people. And that's great. And I love it. And it's been sufficient to meet all my needs. I am now of a particular age where I'm thinking, how long will I do this into the future? And if I wanted to sell my company, it can't be dependent on my relationships and my network. I need to build a customer acquisition process that isn't completely dependent on that. And so it's really about building an exit, that I'm building processes so that if I can find the right person who could step in and one day take over my company, they wouldn't wonder where the next sale is going to come from because the process is there to produce it. I haven't had to worry about that. I've just been really fortunate that way. One of those weird people that never had to go out and sell very hard.
Yeah, man. Now, what results are you most proud of?
A couple of them recently have just been wonderfully satisfying. I've got a client. They were probably about a $25 million, heading to $30 million business going into COVID. And they operate in the trade show, retail environment, corporate interiors. And so without giving too much away, they would do Target's corporate interior. They would do a lot of corporate interiors here in the Minneapolis area. And then they would do large trade show exhibitions. So these are sometimes 1,000, 2,000 square foot displays. It's not, put up a banner type of a trade show. So really big, $250,000, $500,000 trade show experiences. And trade shows got shut down in March. Anything having to do with retail got hit hard. They were doing a lot of restaurant interiors, and pretty much everything that they were doing got cut in half. Their industry was cut by about 90%. They happened to have some long-term contracts that they were able to continue on, and that gave them just enough breathing room. But then the George Floyd incident happened, and there was a lot of racial unrest in Minneapolis. There was a lot of fires in Minneapolis. And it happened all around the country, but we were the nucleus for all that. He and his team immediately made themselves available, and they were boarding up stores that they took their construction abilities, and they were running around to grocery stores and boarding up and kind of preventing loss of damage. Cub Foods was one of their clients, and Cub Foods says, if we don't reopen our store quickly, we're going to lose this store forever. And in the meantime, the people who lived around there didn't have grocery stores nearby. Most of those people would walk to their grocery stores, and now they had that gone. In less than 4 weeks, they built, I think it was 4 weeks, 4 or 6. They built a temporary pop-up full grocery store with refrigerators, freezers, coolers, displays, everything, brought in temporary heating and cooling, and within 6 weeks, people had their grocery stores back up while they rebuilt the original grocery store behind them. Then they pivoted into backyard studios. There's a lot of folks, because of COVID, that the work from anywhere and work from home was accelerating. And they said, if this trend accelerating, but it'll continue after COVID, what can we do? And I had multiple conversations with them about how do you identify which trends will accelerate and continue, and they maximize, or they blend well with your core competencies. And next thing you know, I don't know if you noticed at the bowl games, but ESPN was giving away a little backyard studio to the Teacher of the Year. That was their product that they came up with. And now big box stores are picking it up, and you're going to start seeing it all over the country. And that's the kind of rugged, determined entrepreneurialism. I'm so proud to be even anywhere near that when it happens. That excites me more than anything. That's the best feeling ever.
Yeah, man. So, Bill, any parting thoughts for the listeners as we're wrapping up?
Well, I'm reminded of some research that Inc. magazine did years ago. I think they ended up calling it the CEO Project. And they did a bell curve analysis of business owners and CEOs that were producing economic value. So how fast was the equity and the value of their company growing? And you get out 2 standard deviations, and 5% of CEOs are growing economic value 10 times the rate of the bell curve CEO. So my last parting thought is really the key results of that research, which was by asking one question, the researchers would almost automatically know if you were a 10X CEO or if you were a bell curve. And it was, can you name for me 3 ideas that you implemented this year? Those ideas came from outside your organization. You didn't come up with it. Your team didn't come up with it. You found it somewhere else. And before you executed on it, you took the time to anticipate what the return on that investment was likely to be in terms of the economic value it would bring to your organization. If you do those 3 little things, 3 ideas a year from outside the company, and you do an analysis on their impact on economic value, you move yourself into the 10X CEO realm. That to me is amazing. One little question. That's what I'll leave you with.
Good God, man. Did you just give us the secret to 10X?
I just am a reporter. I didn't come up with it.
Oh, man. That is gold. That is gold. I love it so much. So where can our listeners get more from you, about you? Where should they go to connect with you?
I did write a book. I'm happy to let people have a copy of that. It's called Breakthrough, The Power of Conscious Conversation. And you can go to our website. It's MN, like Minnesota, mnexecutivegroup.com. If you give me a phone call, I'll answer, or my wife will. That number is area code I forgot my phone number.
Love it.
I'll try it again. 612-269-5387.
If we could just, this is audio, but I wish people could see how big your eyes got when you forgot your phone number. Oh, too good, man.
I told you I was fallible.
Yeah. Thank you. This has been an amazing interview. I appreciate you taking the time out to speak with us, Bill. And I cannot even believe that you gave us the secret to 10x growth in about, I don't think that was more than 30 to 60 seconds. So that was beautiful. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you everyone for tuning in. And as always, we will be back in your earbuds next time.
Thanks, Jonathan.
That is a wrap for another edition of ResultsLeader.fm. If you are out there getting results for your clients and you want to be featured on the show, go to ResultsLeader.fm now and apply to be on the show. And if you love what you're hearing, share the show, give us a rating and review, do anything to help us get the message out there. Thought leadership is easy, but results leadership is hard.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.